Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will show you how I use the Drafts application to process the notes I take in meetings. Drafts is a fantastic application which allows you to process text of any kind. You can use it to send email, you can use it to send WhatsApp messages, or even write to Evernote. But in a specific video, I will focus on how I use it to process my meeting notes. I have defined an entire set of actions which I dedicate to handling my meetings and notes. And so if you press at the top right corner like I did here, the top right corner, the actions that you have defined appear, and these are the actions I have defined to handle my meetings. The first action I use is the meeting template, which populates the note with things I would like to write in the meeting. So if I press on that, it brings up a prompt asking for the name of the meeting. For example, I could say it's about grading. Pressing OK, that produces the format you see before you. The first line, grading, is the title of the note, and that's what I use to label the note when it moves to Evernote at the end of this process. And then I have several markdown sections written in Markdown: the topic, the notes and actions, the calendar events, and summary. In the topic, I write in the general discussion that happened during the meeting. For example, I'm not going to be too specific in this example, so I'm just going to write any text that comes into my mind. But here you discuss the main topic. You write exactly what's happening in the meeting, who said what, and so on. I'm just going to write blah, blah, blah. And again, this is a section where I write all of the things that happen in the meeting. Then I have a notes and action section. And here is where I actually enter the things that need action, the actionable items that were produced or were discussed during the meeting. And if you've been following my YouTube channel, you know that I use Todoist as my task manager. So essentially what I want to do here is write a couple of lines which are then automatically moved to Todoist. And to do that, I prefix each of the lines that contain actions with the word Todoist. In order to prevent myself from writing this repeatedly, I have defined a text expander snippet which expands the text TTO to Todoist. So for example, if I write TTO, it automatically expands it to Todoist, as you can see. And then I can write the action right in front of it. For example, just to show you how this works, I can write buy pens for office. I'm assuming this meeting was somehow related to office supplies, and I want that to enter my shopping list. So this is entered in natural language processing for Todoist, so I can say today. That gives it a date. And then I want to add this to my shopping list, so I need to hashtag shopping it. I need to put a hashtag followed by shopping. And again, I do this using a text expander snippet called ashop, which automatically expands to shopping. And so that's my first item. That's the first item that will go into my to-do list on Todoist. It's going to be classified underneath the shopping project, and it's going to be scheduled for today, and the text will be buy pens for office. Let's assume TTO again. I have another action I want to perform, and this action was mentioned in the meeting. So I could say, for example, print the brochure, for example. Print the brochure. And I want to do this again. I'm going to do this today. And this is in general work. I have a shortcut for that as well, which is general work, what you see there. Then I can continue entering all of the tasks in this manner. Let's assume I have some calendar events I also want to put into my calendar. Again, if you've been following me on YouTube and on my personal blog, you know that I use Fantastical as my calendar. And what I want to do is I want to now write tasks which are automatically transferred to Fantastical, so it can enter them into my system. Again, I prefix the lines I want to add to Fantastical with the phrase ccal, And I've done it again using a text expander snippet. So if I write ccal, I apologize, it expands to this format, which contains a semicolon after it and a space, which is the format I've then used to classify this line as a calendar event. And I can say here, for example, meeting with John at 7 p.m. today. Again, natural language processing. That's the beauty of Fantastical. I can go on and enter all of the meetings I want to process. Let's enter another meeting. So let's say meeting with James at 8 p.m. today. Again, I've entered all of the entries that I want to enter in my calendar, and I prefixed them with the word ccal. Then I can summarize the meeting. So I can say here blah 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 again. You naturally enter what you want to enter there. And the part I want to focus on is how I process the actions. I want to put them into Todoist, and how I process my calendar events. I want that to go into my Fantastical calendar. So what I do is, again, I bring up our list of actions, and the one before the last is process meeting notes, calendar, and Todoist. I press that, and then it runs my actions. And if you see, it is automatically now adding the events I've entered into Fantastical. And it's done. It is finished. It comes back. It cleans up the list by removing the tags. It removed Todoist, Todoist, and ccal from my minute notes. Now I just have the text of the note itself. And the action items have been entered into my to-do application, Todoist, and the calendar events are now in my calendar. I will show you I will actually show you this to confirm that this is what happened in a couple of minutes. Now I'd like to retain the text of this meeting in my archival or reference application, which is Evernote. So again, I bring up my actions and I move it to my Evernote inbox, which is the second item on my action list. So Evernote inbox, it's now processed, and once it's processed, it's deleted from drafts in order not to take a lot of space in the application and clutter the interface. So now let's go into each of the applications and see if the items I've entered have been populated in their respective applications. So if you open Todoist, you have buy pens for office and print a brochure, both scheduled for today and both properly categorized. If you see, buy pens for office is scheduled underneath shopping, and print the brochure is categorized under general work. And this is done automatically. I didn't go into the application. It was automatically populated when I processed my minute notes in Todoist, in drafts. So I can go ahead and remove these items because I don't really need them. And then now we can check in our calendar. Opening the calendar today, you have the two items I've entered. Here, meeting with John at 7, from 7 to 8 p.m., and meeting with James from 8 to 9 p.m. The items have been automatically entered. Again, I don't need them, so I'm going to delete them. But the items have been automatically entered into my system simply by processing from drafts. Now we can open Evernote, and I can go into my application. If you notice, the note has been properly formatted. I wrote it in Markdown. It's been automatically formatted in rich text format, and it's now available in my inbox. I can move it to whatever directory or whatever notebook I want. Of course, I don't want this particular note, so I'm going to delete it. And that's how I process my meetings. The meeting minutes of the meetings I attend using drafts. It's a fantastic application, and this is just one example of the awesome power it can bring to your workflow on iOS.